Amy Hunt has already won 3 gold medals at 1 European Championships. Only one race stands between her and a feat nobody has ever done in the 92-year history of this event. 4 golds in a single edition. On the same night, Dina Asher-Smith quietly tied a medal record that took Irena Szewinska over 50 years to build. 2 British women. 2 different pieces of history. Both landed within minutes of each other in Birmingham. It started 4 days earlier with the 100 ms final. Hunt did not have the best start. At the halfway mark, she was sitting in 5th place, behind runners who looked faster off the blocks. Then her legs opened up. Over the final 25 meters, she ran down the whole field and crossed the line first in 11.clug seconds. Poland's Iwa Swoboda took silver in 11.02, just 2/100ths behind. Belgium's Delphine Nkanza grabbed bronze. Asher-Smith, the defending champion from 2024, finished 5th, missing the podium by 0.03 seconds. That was the first sign something was shifting inside the British sprint team. The student was starting to beat the teacher. 2 days later came the 200 final, and this one had even more riding on it. Hunt was chasing a sprint double. Asher-Smith was chasing her 3rd European 200 title, a feat that would have made her the only woman in the modern era to win that event 3 separate times. Asher-Smith actually got the better start, rolling off the bend with a clean lead. But Hunt is known for her finish, and over the final 50 meters, she closed the gap and pulled level with her own teammate. She crossed the line first in 22.19 seconds, a European lead for the year. Ireland's Rasidat Adeleke came storming through late to steal silver in 22.28, a new Irish national record. Asher-Smith had to settle for bronze in 22.29, just 1/100th of a second behind Adeleke. She admitted afterward she was annoyed not to win again, but called it her 9th European medal, a number that already put her close to the top of the all-time list. Keep that number in your head. 9th. It matters later. While the sprinters were stealing headlines, Matthew Hudson-Smith was busy writing his own chapter on the very same track he trained on as a 9-year-old boy. In the men's 400 meters final, running from the tough outside lane, he went out hard from the gun and never let anyone catch him, crossing the line in 44.17 seconds. It was his 3rd European 400 meter title, following wins in 2018 and 2022. And it made him the first man to ever win that event 3 times at this championship. France's Mohamed Abdallah Kunta took silver in 44.40, and the Netherlands' Jonas Pfeiffers grabbed bronze in a Dutch record of 44.41. Hudson-Smith had jumped into the crowd stand named after him, right there in his home stadium. 2 British athletes on 2 different nights, both closing in on records that had stood for decades. Then came a twist nobody saw coming. In the build-up, most people expected Jarnell Hughes to win the men's 200 minors. He had looked the most comfortable of anyone through the rounds, running relaxed times and cruising through his semi-final. But in the final, Germany's Owen Ansa, who had already taken bronze in the 100 meter days earlier, ran the race of his life and beat Hughes to the gold. Hughes settled for silver, and Italy's Esiosa Faustine Desalu rounded out the podium with bronze. It was proof that, in this championship, even the athletes everyone expected to win could be caught off guard. All of that set the stage for the moment everything was building toward, the women's 4x100 m relay. This was the race where storylines collided. Hunt needed this gold to keep her chase for 4 titles alive. Asher-Smith needed 1 more medal to make history of her own. The British team ran a clean race from the very first handoff. Hunt anchored the final leg, and when she crossed the line first, it was her 3rd gold medal of these championships, matching her double from the 100 meters and 200 meters. She called her teammates superwomen afterward, and said racing with them was a privilege. But the bigger headline belonged to Asher-Smith. That relay gold was her 10th medal at the European Championships. 10 medals. That number matches Irena Szewinska, a Polish athlete who built her medal collection across the 1960s and 1970s. For over 50 years, nobody had reached that total. Now Asher-Smith has joined her. And her 7th gold at this event also ties another shared record, one held by Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Croatian discus thrower Sandra Elkasovic. 3 athletes from 3 completely different sports, all tied at the very top of the medal count. When reporters told her about the record, Asher-Smith laughed it off, saying these kinds of stats go in one ear and come out the other, and that she would probably appreciate it more in 10 years looking back. That kind of answer only comes from someone who has been doing this a long time. Her first European medal came back in 2014. This ties a record set decades before she was even born into the sport. Here is what makes this story impossible to look away from. Hunt is not finished yet. The mixed 4x100 means relay is still on the schedule. And if Great Britain wins it, Hunt would become the first athlete in the entire 92-year history of the European Championships to win 4 gold medals at a single edition. Nobody has ever done that. Not once. And if Asher-Smith somehow finds her way onto another podium before the championships close, she stops tying Szewinska's record and starts owning it outright, alone at the top of the all-time list. 2 British women, one chasing a number nobody has ever hit, the other one medal away from breaking a record that has survived for half a century. Both stories are happening in the exact same week, on the exact same team, in front of the exact same home crowd that has been roaring them down the track since day one. Birmingham is not done handing out history just yet.
Tyson Gay ran 9.69 seconds. He beat Usain Bolt in a World Championship final. He holds the American 100 means record to this day, and right now he is looking at Garrett, the 17-year-old Australian who just ran 9.99 and broke the internet, and he has one message for him. Not praise, not hype, a warning that took Gay years of pain to learn. Garrett is that name right now. He is 17 years old, he is from Australia, and he just ran 9.99 seconds for 100 meters, becoming the fastest junior sprinter in the world at his age. The internet went into full meltdown. Fans started comparing him to Usain Bolt. Coaches started calling him generational. But here is the thing no one is saying loudly enough. Being the fastest 17-year-old on the planet and being ready for what comes next are 2 completely different things. And Tyson Gay knows exactly what that difference costs. In 2007, Tyson Gay walked onto the track at the World Championships and did something nobody expected. He won both the 100 meters and the 200 meters. In the same championship, he beat Asafa Powell, the world record holder at the time, in the 100 meters. He beat a young Usain Bolt in the 200 meters final. Gay was not just winning, he was dominating. The following year at the 2008 US Olympic trials, he ran 9.77 in the quarterfinals. Then in the final, he clocked 9.68 seconds, which remains the fastest wind-dated time a human being has ever run from 0 to 100 meters. His coach at the time said the crowd exploded the moment it flashed on the board. Gay went into the Beijing Olympics as the 2nd fastest man alive. Only Bolt stood ahead of him, and then Bolt destroyed him, and the entire field. That moment, standing in lane, watching Bolt pull away while doing everything technically correct, is where Gay's real education began. He said it himself, "My mechanics were right. Everything I trained for was happening the way it should. It just was not enough." That is the truth Garrett has not faced yet, and it is coming. Before Gay could even get to Bolt, he had to deal with Asafa Powell, and Powell taught Gay the first harsh lesson of elite sprinting. Powell did not beat people with tricks. He did not outthink you. He just started so fast and so clean that by the time you figured out what was happening, you were already chasing. Gay described it clearly. If Powell got out clean in the first 30 meters, you were done. Not because you slowed down, but because chasing him made you force things. You tensed up, your stride shortened, your rhythm broke, and Powell just kept doing exactly what he was doing from step 1. This is the trap waiting for Garrett. Right now, he is the chaser. He is the one studying footage of other sprinters. But the moment the world decides he is a real threat, every coach from Jamaica to the United States will be breaking down his start on film. They will find the weakness. They always do. Gay's own coach, John Smith, said it out loud in 2016. He pointed to Gay directly and said, "He's always been very comfortable catching people at the end, but he gives away the beginning. You can't catch up with a lot of the guys now." If that was true for Gay at 33, it will be true for Gout the second the field gets a full season of footage on him. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable, because the man who gave Gay some of the toughest races of his career was not Bolt. It was not Powell. It was Justin Gatlin, his own American teammate. Gatlin and Gay came up through the same system, same country, same expectations, same trials, and when Gatlin came back from a 4-year doping ban and lined up next to Gay, none of that history mattered. What mattered was what Gatlin brought to the track that day. Gay said Gatlin forced you to react even when you did not want to. His start was so aggressive, so compact, so direct, that you had to make a decision in real time. Stay disciplined, or match him early and risk blowing up at the end. Most sprinters matched him early. Most sprinters paid for it. This is the lesson Gout is not thinking about yet. He is surrounded by support right now. Everyone loves him, but the moment he becomes a real contender, the rivals will not just be the famous names from other countries. In 2013, Gay tested positive for a banned substance. He received a 1-year ban. He lost everything he had built. He came back, but he never got back to where he was. By 2016, at age 33, he ran 10.08 at his season opener and called it a rough start. The man who once ran 9.68 was now celebrating just staying healthy enough to compete. He said it with complete honesty: last year I was unhealthy, missing a whole bunch of training. Once you miss a lot of training, you can't get consistency.
Nobody had done it. Not in the history of college track. Not once in the entire existence of indoor sprinting. Breaking 20 seconds in the 200 meters indoors as a collegiate athlete, it just had not happened. And then on March 14, 2026, at the Randall Tyson Track Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Garrett Kaalund did exactly that. The clock read 1995. The crowd lost their minds. And college track was never going to be the same again. Kaalund was born on January 25, 2004, in Georgia, but grew up in San Antonio, Texas, where his mother, Ann Kaalund, signed him up for track, simply because the kid could not sit still. He landed at Antonian College Preparatory High School, and by May 2022, he was winning the Texas South Region titles in both the 200 meters and the 400 meters. He set school records in the 100, 200, and 400. He anchored record-setting 4x100, 4x400 relay teams. He was named Athlete of the Year at his school. He was the fastest recruit in the state of Texas that year. His personal bests coming out of high school were 10.51 in the 100, 20.66 in the 200, and 46.88 in the 400. College programs were lining up. He chose the University of Nebraska. As a freshman, he ran 20.65 in the 200 meters. As a sophomore, he dropped that to 20.25 and earned second-team All-American honors at the NCAA championships. The improvement was steep and consistent, but Nebraska was not where this story was going to peak. In August 2024, USC hired Brenton Emanuel as their sprints and hurdles coach. Emanuel had been Kaalund's coach at Nebraska. Kaalund followed him. The transfer changed everything. At USC, something clicked beyond just the coaching. The environment, the belief in that building, it got into Kaalund. He has said it himself. The athletes around him believed in themselves at a level he had not seen before, and that belief became contagious. But the real technical work was happening at the starting blocks. Emanuel had identified the one flaw holding Kaalund back: his start. Kaalund was always a monster in the back half of a race, but he would dig himself a hole in the first 60 meters and then spend the rest of the race clawing back. After countless hours working that start, he finally had a complete race dangerous from gun to tape. The result that first indoor season, at USC, the Trojans won the overall NCAA Indoor Championships team title in March 2025, their first team title in 53 years. He entered 2026 with one target: win. On February 6th, he ran 20.12 in New Mexico, breaking the USC school record that had stood since 2015 when Olympic champion Andre DeGrasse set it. 2 weeks later, at the Big Ten Indoor Championships in Indianapolis, he ran 20.06, the third fastest indoor 200 in history, a new Big Ten meet record, and the fastest time in the world for 2026. He was not done. Emanuel said Kaalund had turned down the opportunity to go professional after the 2025 season because he felt the job was unfinished. He came back for titles, and he was about to collect the biggest one of his life: the NCAA Division I Indoor Track and Field Championships, March 14, 2026. The men's 200-meter final was the last individual race of the entire meet. In Section 1, Wayne McCoy of Florida had already run a personal best 20.17, a serious time to beat. Kaalund was in Section 2, the fast section, alongside Galani Watkins of Arkansas, the number 2 seed, fresh off breaking the Arkansas 60-meter record earlier that same day. Before the race, Emmanuel described what Kaalund is like in warm-ups: pacing, nervous, moving constantly. Then the gun fires, and he becomes an entirely different person. That is exactly what happened. He exploded off the blocks, the clean, powerful start that Emmanuel had spent a year building. He attacked the curve. He came off it flying. Down the straight he lifted, drove, and crossed the line. The clock stopped at 1995. The place erupted. Kaalund had become the first collegiate athlete in history to break 20 seconds indoors. He beat McCoy's 20.17 by 0.22 seconds. Watkins finished third. It was not a close race. It was a statement. The previous NCAA and American indoor record was 20.02, set by Elijah Hall in 2018. Gone. The facility record of 20.10, held by Wallace Spearman since 2005. Gone. His 19.95 is now the second fastest indoor 200 in world history. The only man who has ever run faster indoors is Frank Fredericks of Namibia, who ran 19.92 in Leeuwen, France, in February 1996, a world record that had stood for 30 years. Kaalund missed it by 0.03 of a second as a college student indoors. He now owns 2 of the 3 fastest indoor collegiate 200-meter times ever, run his 19.95 at number 1 and his 20.06 tied at number 3. No other college sprinter in the history of the sport has ever sat that high on that list. After crossing the line, Kaalund said he woke up that morning convinced going under 20 was not possible. Then he stepped outside and changed his mind. "I said I don't care. I'm running it today." The outdoor season is next. His outdoor personal best already sits at 19.96. The world indoor record is 19.92. Garrett Kaalund is 22 years old. The ceiling has not been found yet. Jordan Anthony just walked into the biggest indoor track meet in America, lined up next to the Olympic champion, beat him by 0.06 seconds, and then told him to find a new hobby. He is 21 years old. It is his first professional season, and he was completely calm the whole time. On March 1st, 2026, at the Ocean Breeze Athletic Complex in Staten Island, New York, the USATF Indoor Championships gave the sprint world a moment nobody saw coming. The men's 60-meter final had 3 serious names on the start list: Trayvon Bromell, a former 2016 World Indoor Champion and one of the most dangerous starters in the history of the event; Noah Lyles, the reigning Olympic 100-meter gold medalist, 4-time 200-meter world champion, and the undisputed face of American track and field. And then there was Anthony, a rookie, a kid from Tylertown, Mississippi, who grew up dreaming about the Heisman Trophy, not a national sprint title. When the gun fired, Anthony exploded out of the blocks, hit the 30-meter mark in control, and never looked back. He crossed the line in 6.45 seconds. Bromell finished second in 6:47. Lyles, the man who owns 8 world titles and an Olympic gold medal, finished third in 6:51. The rookie beat the king, and the sport has not been the same since. To understand how big this is, you have to understand who Noah Lyles actually is. This is not just a fast guy. Lyles won the 100-meter gold at the 2024 Paris Olympics, ending a long drought for American sprinting. He holds the American record in the 200 meters at 19.31 seconds, set at the 2022 World Athletics Championships. He has been the loudest, most dominant, most entertaining sprinter on the planet for years. He created the championship belt celebration. He built a brand. He is a cultural icon in a sport that rarely produces them. And before this race, Lyles had not even competed at the USATF Indoor Championships in over 9 years. His last appearance was back in 2018 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he finished 9th. So when he showed up in 2026, he came with a message. He told reporters that anyone who thought he was letting that belt go somewhere else simply did not know Noah Lyles. He said he was going all out from the very start of the season. He was not scared of anyone. That is the man Jordan Anthony just beat. Now here is what makes Anthony's story different from every other rising star narrative you have heard. He was not even supposed to be a sprinter. He was a wide receiver.